my humble opinion, this little thing is the absolute best accessory you can buy for your Xbox. Hi and welcome back to the shed. I'm Joe Bleeps, and although you'll have seen on lots of my other videos I'm very into my retro gaming, I am a big fan of the Xbox Series S, so much so that once I upgraded to Game Pass and was playing games more and more, I upgraded to the Xbox Series X, and I am loving that too. However, as well as playing games, I like to stream a lot of media using things like Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus and so on. And although the standard controller is excellent, when it comes to navigating through media apps, it's a little bit clunky. And if you want to adjust settings on your TV, like volume and so on, you need to use your TV remote. So I grabbed one of these off Amazon. It's an 8bitdo, I don't know, controller. It's an infrared controller, and it basically does everything that you'd need without any setup or installation or anything like that. It just works off the bat. You can control your Xbox, you can navigate through menus, but you can also adjust the volume on the TV. So basically when you're streaming, you can play, pause, skip back out, go back in, choose what you want to watch or change your volume, all those sorts of settings just on one quick little remote, which is always on and always ready. Because of course, when you're using the standard controller, if you've not touched it for a while, it switches itself off and needs switching back on if you want to use it to control your media. So yeah, I did need a bit of an upgrade. Now I've been meaning to do a video about this thing for quite a while now, but since I recently got the Series X, I've still got the Series S in the other room, and it's set up and it's working nicely in there. Again, used for streaming media as well as playing games. Seeing as this is the white one, I've kept it with the Series S because I kind of like how it fits with that whole aesthetic. And what I've done is I bought this one. So this is pretty much the same thing, albeit with a few more buttons. I got this mainly because it's boring buying the same thing again, so it's nice to get something a little bit different. And it's black, so it matches the Series X, so it'll fit again with the whole aesthetic. Anyway, what I'm going to do in this short video is open it up, take a look, try it out, and let you see what I think. Right, so first things first, the controllers for the Xbox Series S and Series X, they're exactly the same, by the way, just different colours. I really like them. These are probably my favourite controller I've had. Overall, it just fits the shape of my hands. It's very similar to the Xbox One controller, which I liked already, but there's a few little subtle upgrades, things like the textured grip on the triggers and around the back there too. I love the D-pad on it. The whole layout just works. The ergonomics of it are perfect for me, and I enjoy playing with it. It's the sort of controller where I can be playing a game and forget all about the controller while I'm immersed in my game, and that's just right. I shouldn't be stopping and thinking, oh, where's that button, it just naturally is a comfortable controller to use. But that is when you're gaming. In terms of streaming media, you can use the controller for it. You can, navigate forwards and backwards, you can confirm, you can cancel, or, it works. But the thing about these controllers is that they are powered. When you switch on your console and the light comes on and you can navigate and everything else. But if you're like halfway into a film, the controller switches itself off after a while of inactivity. So if you want to pause or skip anything, you need to switch that back on and navigate through. Now that only takes about 10 seconds, so it's not a massive inconvenience, but at the time it is a little bit jarring if you want to just quickly pause something and then play again. So when I first got my Xbox Series S and I was streaming a lot of media on it, on things like Prime Video, Netflix, Disney and so on, I was using the controller quite a bit, and I did find it a little bit less intuitive than a standard TV remote. So I did a bit of research, looked at the ones that were available, and eventually settled on trying out this one by 8bitdo. 8bitdo, I still don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. Anyway, this one. It had a cool, sort of smooth, rounded design. Now you can't really see it in this light, but all the buttons are backlit, so when you're navigating your way through, they will all light up. It's powered by a couple of AAA batteries. Now a lot of the reviews I saw at the time, I think partly because of this backlit nature to the buttons, a lot of the reviews said that the batteries didn't last well at all, so I was a little bit worried about that. But really, it's not been a problem, and as you can see here, I'm using rechargeable batteries with it. I prefer using the IKEA ladder ones. There are other ones available, of course. I know Eneloop are popular, but I find these to be really good. They sell them in packs of 4, and they also sell these cheap little plug-in battery chargers. So obviously there'll be different types available in different countries, but I've certainly found the IKEA rechargeable batteries to be really good. So if you're stuck for a brand and you want a recommendation, I've had no problems with these at all. Price-wise, they're also pretty good. I'll try and remember to put a link for the batteries and the charger in the description if you fancy getting some from yourself. So if you get a pack of 4 rechargeable batteries, then you'll always have 2 on standby for when they run out, and you can just keep charging them. So that's really not been an issue, but even then, I've had this for months and I've only recharged the batteries a few times, so it's not really been a deal breaker at all. Holding it, ergonomics and everything else, it's very intuitive. You've got your thumb in the main central bit. This is largely what you use. You have got the option to use like the A, B, X, Y buttons, but most of the time the confirm and the back button do most of what you need. I'd say if I had one criticism is that when I go to hit the, I don't know what that button's called on the Xbox controller, what was traditionally the start button, so I still call it the start button. A lot of the time when I go to press that, I will accidentally press this one instead. I think it would be quite good to have had that button in this place, but that's something you get used to very quickly. So you've got basically your channel changer, your mute and your volume control that will control your TV as well. And if you've got your console connected via HDMI CEC, it means that all of your gear will work together, so you don't even need to do any setting up for that. You've got the play, pause, skip, all the rest of the buttons that you would need. So it's proven to be really, really good. However, because I've now moved my Series S into the other room, and in my main games room, I'm now on my Xbox Series X, I've kept this controller with the Series S, and I've been missing it very much. So I've bought a replacement. I could have got exactly the same one as I had before, but it's partly more fun to get something a bit different when I'm getting something new, and secondly it's black and my controller's black and the console's black, and it's nice to have everything to match. Now this one has the same buttons as the white one there with a few extras. First of all, play, pause and so on have been moved up to the top, and further down there's a few extra buttons. I'm not sure what the other buttons do there, but we'll have a look at those once I've setting it up. And we've got some number buttons for, I guess, changing channels or something. I doubt I'll use those, and it's a bit longer. It kind of matches the size of my other TV remotes. So a couple of things to note before we start. It's a media remote for Xbox. It's designed for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and Series S. I've used this one on all 3 and it's worked absolutely fine. It is an infrared remote, which means you do need a line of sight. The infrared receiver on the Xbox is the Series S, Series X is very good. So generally that issue with needing line of sight isn't much of a problem at all. Let's open it up and see what's inside. Okay, and here's the main bit of instructions that you need to know. Low battery, backlight starts to blink rapidly. So when the battery does start to run out, your backlight that's normally just on starts to flash a little bit, and you just know that there's no power left and you'll need to either recharge or replace your batteries. It does come with 2 AAA batteries, which is a nice touch. So there's a bit of tape holding the battery cover in place. We'll just take that off. Hopefully it won't leave any marks. Right, so to remove the back, you simply slide off the entire back panel. So it slides across to the side and then lifts off. This time our batteries are in line because it's a longer controller. We've got a bit more room. Am I the only one who always has to have batteries lined up so the logo faces out? Probably, yes. There we go. So we've got those in place. That then just sits on top and then slides and locks back in position. So it's like a kind of a seamless design. Tell you what, let's close the blinds in my shed. So here we are, it's a bit darker now. So you can see that basically as soon as you pick up the controller, the lights come on. So this is brilliant because if you're watching TV in the dark, if you're fumbling about and trying to find the controller and you knock it, then it'll light up, so it's easy to find. And then when you're navigating your way around and you are wanting to pause, play, whatever else and try and find the buttons in the dark, then that's easy to do. As soon as it's been put down, they don't stay on for long at all. It'll go out fairly quickly. And there's a nice little fade for them to go off. A nice feature, and I would prefer it with this backlit display rather than without. So I think for the sake of the battery life, it's a decent compromise. And as I said, the batteries, they last pretty well anyway. Right, let's get those blinds back open. Now, the only criticism I had of this one originally is that the little Xbox button is kind of sticky to the touch. Not sticky like a sticky button, like it stays held down, but like to the actual touch, the rubber is a little bit high friction. I don't know. I gave it a bit of a clean and it still feels a little sticky, but it's not a deal breaker. Again, it's just something I found a little bit odd. The rest of the buttons feel really nice. It's a nice sort of tactile clickiness to them. On the new one, the button doesn't feel quite as sticky, but it is that similar kind of slightly rubbery texture to what I assume is just a sticker put on top of a flat button, but it's never moved or come off on the original one. And let's be honest, if that's my main criticism of it, we've got a pretty good, what's the word I'm looking for? Peripheral. Yeah. So if that's the worst thing I can say, then we've got a pretty good peripheral here. So size-wise, yes, much bigger on this one, but it kind of suits the console, doesn't it? The Series X is unnecessarily massive compared to the Series S, so it's kind of in keeping. Anyway, let's go and take it for a little bit of a test. Okay, so it's moment of truth, time to test this thing out. You can see straight away it's a much better match to my other remotes for my TV and my AV amps, so that's no problem at all. And when you look at it next to the Xbox controller, it definitely looks the part. Right, so my setup, I've got my TV and my Xbox here. Of course, they are hooked up to my AV amp, which has got the sound system all connected up via HDMI. So that whole HDMI link should mean that everything works okay. This is going to be my first go at using this. So first thing to do is just point at the Xbox and press the home button. You saw the light come on straight away. My amp has come on there. That's woken up. And my TV is on. I can now, using the navigation controls on here, just say right. Just give it a moment for the amp to kick in. I can move right, left, and so on. Also, if I go on the volume control, you'll see on the amp that volume goes down, up, and so on. So I've got total control over everything that I need. So if I press the home button, go to my games and apps, pins, go on Disney, I'll just load that up. So I've got Rogue One playing here, and if I look at my remote here, if I just press the play and pause, then that pauses, plays, I can skip through, I can come back out into the main menu on the home button and access everything else that I want. I can use the little back button to come back out from there. So I've got like all these number buttons down here which are a bit out of the way. I can increase, decrease my volume, turn the volume up, turn the volume down. So yeah, it works absolutely fine. So let's pause that. And then what we can do here is just press and hold on the home button. What would you like to do? Navigate with the little arrow buttons to turn off console. Press that to confirm. Make sure you're pointing in the direction of the Xbox. And that'll switch off. And everything else should shut down. There we go. And we're all done. Without having to do any sort of setup at all. It just works straight out of the box, which is pretty awesome. Alright, so I've been playing with it for a little while now. And there are these additional buttons down here that don't really appear to do anything. So the one that looks like the TV setting, and I'm assuming that would be for closed caption, and that may be for swapping between displays or something. They seem to have the same effect as this one here. So if I press that, it comes up with like a menu, a devices and connections media remote one. So you can set an action for what you want to do there with that button when it's pressed. So you can launch app, you can open the guide, you can search, you can go through quick settings and so on. But if I just come back out of there, if I do the same thing and press, say, the CC button, it does exactly the same thing, brings up the same menu. So I haven't got that level of control over my TV that I hoped I might have. I might need to consult the instructions a little further, but generally my main play, stop, skip, forward, back, ABXY, navigating with the directions, the back button, the volume, the mute, all of that works. So really for me, in terms of what I need it for, it does the job pretty nicely. So let's press play and resume my film. And that's pretty much it. It is a very simple piece of kit. I mean, all you have to do is get it out of the box, put the batteries in, and you are good to go. It will control your TV if it's connected to your Xbox via HDMI. You do have to enable HDMI CEC on your Xbox. So if you haven't done that already, it's quite a straightforward setting within the menu. But when you've done that, it means that you can control your Xbox and TV using this one controller. So to be able to navigate through all my media, to switch the Xbox on, to switch it off. You can even use it for navigating things like the store. So you can navigate through the different games and choose your games download them, check on your download status, all those sort of things. You can play your media, you can pause your media, you can come back out, you can choose different episodes, jump back in, adjust your volume. This one was just under £20. I mean, it's Amazon prices, so it was like £19.97 or something. This one is a little bit less, because it is a little bit less controller. It's about £17.50 for this one. So I'll put links in the description for either if you're interested in getting one. I would highly recommend them. I think if you do watch media on your Xbox, this is just an essential. And you can see that I'm not just saying that because I had it on one Xbox and then I upgraded to the new one and I was kind of lost without it. So this upgrade was necessary for me. I know there are other ones out there. They may be as good, they may be even better. But for me, with the features that it has and the design of it as well, it's a really nice looking, high quality piece of kit. Aside from what I was saying about the slightly sticky button there, the actual input is satisfying, nice clicky buttons. It feels good quality, so it definitely feels worth the money. So yeah, I've done a video about a remote control, which I appreciate isn't maybe exciting to most people, but for me, I'm nerding out over this thing, and you know, I would definitely recommend them if you watch stuff on your Xbox. I think there is that slight caveat in terms of battery life, but definitely compared to the reviews I've read, the battery life's been much better than I anticipated. So if you're a little bit on the fence about getting one because of that, I would definitely say, yeah, don't worry about that, particularly if you're going with rechargeable batteries. So yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you've tried one of these before and you've got something to say, or if you tried different ones, I really would be interested to hear what you've got to say about that. So always good to see people engaging in the comments. If you want to see more like this, go and check out my other videos or subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And you can see what nonsense I come up with in future. So until then, I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.